Hey everybody, it's TF now. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This is going to be a double review of Star Wars The Black Series figures from a previous wave that came out earlier this year. I just have not had any time to do a lot of figure reviews like I want. We do have on the left Aurra Sing, and we do have on the right there Q9-0. Aurra Sing from the Clone Wars, Q9-0 from The Mandalorian. I do want to do a review of these because I think that they're really good Black Series figures, and I think they're some of the best that have come out this year. So I figured I would do a review. I'll maybe put them on my top 10 list. We're going to find out. And if you haven't decided yet if to get them, which I have no idea if they're still available in certain retailers, then yeah, maybe it's time to get these. I'll take a look at these. I just got these out of the packaging. I tell you, I've been very busy. I mean, I've been very, very busy. We're going to start with Aurra Sing first and take a look at her accessories and then the figure. Then we'll take a look at Q9-0.
So Aurra Sing comes with a pretty good assortment of weapons. We have her kind of like her sniper here. The only thing I don't really like about this, well, overall, I'm not a big fan of it. Let me just say that. I think the sculpt itself is fine, but its biggest problem that I was going to say just a second ago before I kind of derailed is look at this gray. It doesn't look good to me. It just looks way too plasticky. There's just no detail going on in here in the gray. They added a little bit of like some metal in there, that or like gunmetal gray paint. That'd be cool. Now there's brown in the handles, but it's also a very plain brown. It's a little too bright. I mean, it could be accurate to the show details and whatnot, but I just don't think it looks great. But we do have this cool, pouch strap system here. These are separate pieces, so they came off separately. This attaches here, and then this piece here, I believe I'm doing this right. This I believe will attach right there. You kind of just got to see all the inner workings and outer workings mostly. This little piece right here, which I think will probably fall out. But overall, I mean, the actual mold of it is cool. I'm just not a big fan of how they painted it and the lack of paint overall. Two of these exact same blaster pistols. So we're going to take a look at this one here. I think this is a good sculpt. Yes, again, it's molded in just one color, no paint, molded in black, but the actual sculpt of it is very good. I like the two little pistol holes here, or pistol holes. Of course, I don't know what I'm talking about right now. I guess they're trigger holes. But we do have a nice barrel here, kind of like a hammer. We do have the grip there. Everything looking pretty good on here. Now we also have some weapon storage. I believe you should be able to, have the rifle strapped around here, which I'll try to show off later towards the review. But the pistols here, it's dual wield pistols, so you just insert them like so, and they stay in there and they look pretty good in the holsters. So I actually went ahead and strapped up her sniper rifle all the way around her torso, and I am not having fun with this part because it actually really wants to come undone way too easily. And I mean way too easily. I actually don't know where I put one of these pistols. So we're just going to keep going with this review. I'm having a bit of a mess right now. Let's start off with the likeness. Now, yes, this is we've seen this character in the Clone Wars mostly. I believe they had a quick appearance in Episode 1, if I'm not mistaken. But just this more realistic depiction, I think it's actually fine. I think it looks really cool. You have the nice antenna here. There's a more harder plastic, but can bend if you're not careful. And this is all a soft plastic piece too. That's in the sculpt, as you can see. We do have like a little orange headband, some beads and dreads and whatnot, a little bit of some light brown on there, but it doesn't look incredible, I don't think. It's a little messy. I do like these little doodads and gadgets and whatnot on the back of her coat and jacket. We do have some silver on there. It's mostly molded in this brown color here, but there's a little bit of wrinkles, not really much to make it look like leather or whatnot, but it's a little bit of details, a little bit more. It kind of looks more glossy on the front, but more matte on the back, but it's all kind of done in this one tone, so that's a little weird. Anyway, the skin tone comes through pretty well, but there's some orange bleeding onto the skin, which I believe is actually molded in orange, so the skin is not the cleanest of paint apps, I would say. But the skin tone for us, this is pretty good. It's molded in this. This orange little armband is done well. We have her fingers, which the way these are done, which is actually pretty cool because of this. I haven't had her hold the sniper yet, but there's two trigger holes, of course, and she actually holds that pretty well. But once the way it's done, if it's going straight, it's gonna go inward more a little bit, so that's a little weird. Not too bad, I guess. I think I talked a lot about the upper torso already. Lower torso, a little bit of wrinkling in her one suit and whatnot. Her onesie, they forgot that the armband right there is orange armband. There is actually some metallic paint on the soft plastic for these chains, which look pretty good. A few paint details and whatnot on the buckles. So the back looks like with all those straps. There's some wrinkles again. You can see the holsters right there, which actually have a little bit more wrinkles in there to make it look like leather. But everything else is pretty plain, which I mean that's pretty accurate to the character's design. Like the orange, it's just there's maybe a few wrinkles and whatnot, but it's just very much a basic mold. We get down to the boots, which don't look amazing. They're in this lighter brown, but there is some wrinkles towards the ankles. That's what the back looks like. The bottom of the feet, I mean. This is what the back looks like. A little bit of some details going on back there, and actually some studs on the back of her legs, as you can see, for the the holsters. I forgot what they were called for a second. A quick 360. I feel like they skipped out on certain details and sculpting and whatnot, but overall, I don't think it looks too bad. The head sculpt is pretty well done. They didn't really talk much about the shadow and the lip color and whatnot, but overall, pretty decent. We have pretty good articulation, and it could be better in the head, but her ponytail wants to get in the way of going up and down. Not great. Side to side's fine. A little bit of a pivot. Arms go all the way around. They go in and out. Single joint elbow that actually bends pretty well. Swivel at the elbow, swivel at the wrist, and this is an up and down hinge, I believe, for both hands. Yep. We do have a ball joint waist that can swivel, go forward, back, side to side. The legs, it's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on here. This kind of wants to do a wide joint like they used to do, like Marvel Legends used to do sometimes. That's kind of weird because there's this weird sculpting going on there that makes it want to. And it doesn't even kick out that much. That's weird. The in and out is all right. In the back, I mean, you can kind of manipulate it, but it doesn't really want to go back at all either. Upper thigh swivel. The legs here are not glued to the hips of these holsters, so you can get a full rotation, which is nice. You don't have to worry about breaking this. Double joint knees. Swivel at the boot, which is also nice. Down that much at the foot. Up is not great. And then we do have an ankle rocker. So pretty good articulation in like some of the legs, but in the hips, that's just not great. Q9-0 comes with a gun very reminiscent of Boba Fett's, which I cannot for the life of me remember the name of. It's very much like that. You can see the way that handle looks like. It's pretty much a repurposed cowboy pistol, revolver, whatnot, with a scope on there, nice handle. Or the stock on here is just one gray color, but I don't think it looks too bad. It could have a little bit of a wash in there, of course. It's mostly molded in this black color here. There's some weird excess plastic right here, which I'm not really digging. But overall, this thing looks pretty good. Now, I like droids as much as the next guy. I wouldn't say they're my favorite thing about Star Wars. However, when we get the Black Series droids figures, I think that they usually come out pretty cool. No exception here. This guy, I think, came out really well with a few minor things I think they could have done a little better. But the head sculpt here, I think, is really rad. I like those big eyes with a little bit of some, you could definitely tell there's like this dark gray plastic that they molded this head sculpt in. But then they added, this silver paint to the eyes. I think that's cool. Nice antenna. That is a little bit of a harder plastic, but you can see it can move, so just be careful. This looks like a separate piece. I don't know if this actually pops out at all. I'm not gonna even attempt that. The little where there would be a mouth, that's pretty sick. I do like the neck piece too. Lots of nice ridges and whatnot. There's the back of the head too. You can see all that. They gave us some really nice pouches. A little bit of some multicolor, light and dark brown there. A little bit like this yellowish, almost mustard yellowish Really, actually more of like a honey mustard kind of. It's definitely brown, but it's getting closer to yellow with this part of the strap. That's what I'm trying to say before rambling and whatnot. Few pieces of paint going on. Pieces of paint is not accurate, but you know it looks like rust. And like the shoulders, the chest, and in the stomach there, looking really sick. They do have some wires coming out too, painted in these colors, looking actually really cool. Same thing on the inside here. We have that on the outside as well. Some more rust towards the bracer pieces or the forearms or whatnot. Hands looking pretty decent too. I like the inside of the fingers and whatnot. Look at that. There's actually some nice details in the palms that the light wasn't getting a second ago. So that's cool. We have this cool copper, almost looking bronze piece there, which has some nice dark wash. I think that's really well done. So far, really good looking stuff on him. Then we do have some of the inner workings that you can see in the stomach there. Can't see too much for some reason, but they've really only painted a couple wires, which is a little unfortunate. I wish they did a little more. What the back looks like too, you can't see that many wires either. But that's also the actual back here. You can see a couple details and whatnot on this droid. I forget the actual name. This is like a repurposed droid for like a pre-existing one. I forget if there was a certain unit this was called, like IG units and 3PO units and whatnot. Anyway, we get down to the legs here. We do have some kind of these skinny hips, but I think they're accurate and they look pretty good. Then we get down to the legs, some nice lines and whatnot. It's the paint. There really is no paint towards the bottom half here of the torso, so that's a little disappointing. But the way it's molded does look pretty good. They actually have some clear joints in here, which is kind of trippy. You can see my finger right there for these legs and whatnot. At first I was like, I don't know how I feel about that, but they work fine, so that's cool with me. We got down to what would be the shins, some nice details. It's the top of the feet, looking really cool. There's a nice protruding line. Not really protruding, but you can see just a very distinct line being sculpted into the feet. That's the bottom there. So, I don't know if I talked about these pouches. These were a little plain compared to the ones up here. For articulation, the head wants to be on a ball joint. It's a little loose. This also goes into the neck here, so it can go side to side, swivel up. Could be better. It's actually not too bad. Down is actually pretty good. We do have a butterfly joint going forward and back, which you can actually see some details going on there. We have some swivel at the arms. These pieces want to move. They can. Actually, I think they'll move no matter what. No. It's kind of like the Stormtroopers where you can hold it in place and they won't move, but mostly they're going to move with the shoulder. That's fine with me, though, with the soft plastic piece. Again, swivels up in here. Really good articulation so far. We do have a swivel going on in here. What's cool is this... no. Okay, never mind. I thought this was glued onto this, so I felt like this would have moved with this and there wouldn't be any breaking or whatnot. So you can break the wires, eventually, but it's not, you'd have to do that with a lot of effort. That's the single joint, which actually gets 90 degrees. Pretty good. Swivels again there. An actual swivel at the brace right here, or the bracers. Pretty much the forearm. A really good swivel at the wrist here. Up and down hinge. Lots of articulation so far. In and out at this hand. Ball joint waist that goes all the way around. Back that much. Forwards, side to side. T-joint legs that go forward that much. Actually, you could bend it a little bit more. The back's pretty good. In and out. Upper thigh swivel. Single joint knee, but bends at a 90 degree. And it does actually swivel there, too. We also have an ankle rocker and a hinge, too. So, and a pretty good range of motion and really good articulation on this thing. Quick size comparison to the left, that's Black Series Beskar Mandalorian. On the right, that's the Marvel Legends Retro Collection Spider-Man. Marvel Legends are going to be taller than Black Series a lot of the time. Mando is actually taller than both of the characters right there, but not by too much. So overall, a bit mixed on one figure and really liking the other. Not the biggest fan of what they've done with Aurra Sing here. I don't think it's a really horrible figure. I think that they got the look down pretty well, but I just feel like some of the details are lacking. Not a fan of what they did with her
sniper rifle and whatnot, including that strap piece that just wants to come off super easily. I like the pistols; they're cool, but articulation's pretty good, except for the weird, almost wide joint hips. But other than that, I just feel like they kind of phoned it in a tiny bit with this figure, and I'm not really digging it at the end of the result. I mean, again, good likeness. It doesn't really look like the Clone Wars version. It's supposed to be more realistic though, and it's not god awful, just not as good as I thought it was going to be. Now, Q9, though, very well done. Very cool droid figure with some cool paint details, even though, you don't really get that much of that in the lower torso. You get that most in the upper torso. Really good sculpting on, the plates and whatnot of this figure and the armored pieces. But, the whole piece of the droid and whatnot. The bandolier is done really well, as well as I forgot to mention there's actual sculpts in the joints and his elbows and whatnot. His weapon is cool too, and you can get him into actually a lot of really nice poses because the articulation is surprisingly good on this thing. So very happy with that figure. Not as much with Aurra Sing, but yeah, that's where I stand. A little mixed overall in this review. Again, Q9 being my favorite here. $20, maybe over a little $20 now. I'll leave a link down in the description below where you can get these figures. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figures and think of the review. Leave a like, share with your friends, follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.